Welcome, everybody, to the show, Random Wrestling Talk, episode number 18. Holy shit, I gotta lower down the volume here. My ears are about to explode. I think I made the volume a little too loud. All right, folks, WWE is at it again. Holy shit in Toledo, man. They are at it again, proving how fucking pathetic and lame they truly are. I gotta lower this a little more, man. Louder I get in my head, in this microphone, the louder it is in my headset, and it's deafening the shit out of me. So let me lower this just a little bit. All right, I'm pretty sure you all can hear me because I've been messing around with the volume while I was waiting for it to be 8:30 to see how loud I can get it. Anyway, folks, WWE is continuously proving that they are incompetent. Most definitely. They do not know what the hell they're doing. They are booking the women's division, the mid card division, hell, even the main event into a complete dumpster fire. This is the worst I've ever seen this company operate at. Tony Khan made comments about WWE and about Vince McMahon making terrible decisions on like ripping up scripts before the show went on the air. He takes a lot of advantage of the performers that have been in the business for a very, very long time, from the wrestlers to even the guys backstage who don't wrestle anymore. So WWE is basically WCW in modern day times. Only one problem. If the WCW from 2000 faced the WWE of now, I think WCW would be kicking WWE's ass because a lot of people would gravitate more towards that product that we got back in 2000 than what we're getting now. And that is the same to be said about AEW at this point. AEW is the number one wrestling promotion. No, the numbers from the ratings do not show that, but they do provide a highly intriguing fan base than WWE does. Now, you might say, well, how can you defend that when their ratings are not as good as WWE's? Think about it. They've been around for only 3 years. They're not doing a whole lot yet. They're already performing in front of a 10,000 plus audience every single week. And their pay-per-views are like highly intrigued by a lot of people. Rachel Buck, I did see a lot of comments you just made. I will get into that in just a moment. So bear with me if you're still here on the air with us. But bottom line, I personally cannot believe what WWE has done to this women's division, to the men, to everybody. They are completely, and I mean completely, destroying this product. By WrestleMania 39, I don't see WWE in existence anymore unless somebody that purchased WWE decides to take the responsibility of, taking the risk of taking care of this company, because quite frankly, it ain't going to be Triple H. It ain't going to be his daughter, Vince McMahon's daughter. Um, it ain't going to be anybody from the McMahon family. It's going to be an outsider taking care of WWE or someone just owning the rights to it, and that's it. So that's really all there is to it at this point. Now, the big news that's been going around for the last day and a half. Can't believe this shit. Monday Night Raw was a complete dumpster fire. I could not. I didn't watch it, of course, as usual. I haven't been watching it since WrestleMania. And I'm sitting there, I'm minding my own business. I'm playing some video games. And all of a sudden, my friend Matt87 Eagle goes ahead and texts me on my phone. I go, what now? What's going on? I thought maybe it was just a normal text saying, hey, what's up? He texts me and informs me that Sasha Banks and Naomi have walked out of WWE and decided not to perform on Monday Night Raw's episode and drop their titles to Johnny Laurinaitis. Now, I saw in Rachel Buck's comments here in the chat, she doesn't believe Naomi's leaving because if that was the case, her husband would be going with her. Not entirely true, Rachel Buck. I disagree with you on that comment. I don't think that the husband to Naomi would have left WWE. Somebody's got to earn the paycheck in the family, so it might as well be the her husband in that case. But I mean, she may not be gone. She just may have refused to work this idea that they came up with, which I don't quite understand. The idea was to have them work in a 6-pack challenge, have Sasha Banks lose to Naomi, which makes no fucking sense. The idea of Naomi getting an opportunity for the Raw Women's Championship against Bianca Belair, that's intriguing. I would have enjoyed seeing that. That would have been something different. And I applaud WWE for that aspect. But what I don't applaud is why would she pin her own partner? That makes absolutely no fucking sense. Why would you want her to pin her own partner when they're the tag team champions together? That is insane. And then on top of it, the added on information that we got later on today is that Sasha Banks was supposed to challenge Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This is absolutely insane. So both of the tag team champions for the women's division were getting opportunities for the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships. Fantastic. There's only one small problem. I think the biggest issue they probably had was both Naomi and Sasha Banks both having to be in a situation where she had to pin Sasha Banks. Naomi didn't like that idea because they're the tag team champions, of course. And then the idea of her going ahead facing Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, who suffered a loss in that idea segment, that idea match, she would get an opportunity for the SmackDown title against Ronda Rousey and end up losing anyway as well. So she'd suffer 2 losses, and Naomi would suffer 1 loss under Bianca Belair, which would have ended up with them just having a token opportunity for the championship, but nothing memorable coming out of it. When you're already the tag team champions of the women's division, why aren't you focusing on building new opponents for these women so they can make those tag team titles mean something? If they don't mean anything to the company, why does the tag team titles for the women's division actually exist? It makes no sense. It is pointless bullshit that the WWE company, this wrestling promotion, is doing within their own with their creative decisions, man. This is insane. Absolutely fucking positively the most dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen them do some really outrageous shit, but this is getting even worse. How can you get worse? I don't understand. They have perfected the way of getting worse. Why don't they do something unique? Why don't they go in the opposite direction and get better? Try doing that, jackasses. But let me go ahead and read Rachel Buck's comments in the chat. If you guys want to leave any comments in the chat, you're more than welcome to, as usual. If you're new to the channel, though, you can leave a comment in the chat. I'll definitely read it. No super chat necessary for you to have your comment read here on the channel. This is absolutely free, completely interactive. You will not find this anywhere in the YouTube community when it comes to pro wrestling. Nowhere. I am the first one to ever do something like this. Others will require you to do a super chat. I do not. The only way I would require any of you to do a super chat in this type of situation is if I got tons and tons and tons of comments being made in the chat. I would not be able to get through all of that. So then it would have to be a super chat. But since it's a small group, we got like 4 or 5, maybe even if we're lucky, 6 or 7. That's fine. Even if it's 10 or 12, I can handle that. I won't be able to read everybody if it's like 10 or 12, but I'll be able to get through most of them. So, anyway, let me read off several comments that Rachel Buck has made here. She says Sasha Banks and Naomi are not going anywhere because if Naomi leaves, then she'll take the Usos with her, and WWE doesn't want that to happen. So, do you agree that Sasha might go and leave WWE? She's in the middle of a contract. That's number one. Her sitting out, yes, I do believe that could be a possibility that might happen. Vince might try to sweet talk her to come back. He's done that before a while back. Managed to convince her that she would be in a vital role, and eventually he did that. But after a while, things went right back to the way it was, and that's what happened when she lost the SmackDown championship to Bianca Belair last year. There was nothing about her on television that was intriguing. They didn't do anything with her at all that was of importance. This was absolutely ridiculous. Um, she Rachel Buck also goes on to say, but Naomi will stay because her husband is in WWE, and if the Usos leave with Naomi, WWE will be in serious trouble because Roman Reigns is leaving, and if the Usos leave, then WWE's out of luck. I totally agree with you on that, Rachel. Personally, I think that the Usos may be on their way out, possibly. I mean, let's be honest. Without Roman Reigns, the Usos aren't all that big of a deal either. The tag team wrestling division in WWE, even unified, the titles being unified, which by the way is on SmackDown this coming Friday, which I don't believe is even going to be unified at all. I think they're going to do some stupid idea. It's just to get ratings. I don't think we're going to see any change of the tag team titles. I don't think they're going to be unified. I don't think anything of importance is going to happen. At the end of the day, I personally could give a fuck less about this company. And that's sad to say because I've come on here many times, have said I've been a fan of this company for a very long time. I'm just fed up with the way they've run this company into the freaking ground, man. It's sad. It really is. I've sat and watched Raws and SmackDowns, and I got to tell you, even drunk in the pandemic, 2020, first time that we had the pandemic, first year, I literally watched SmackDown drunk as fuck. Came on here, gave you the guys the review, and literally drunk as hell. I still couldn't enjoy the fucking show. And let me tell you, folks, when I get drunk, it's very hard for me to not enjoy something because usually I have a great time when I'm drunk. I'm a very happy drunk. But my gosh, man, even drunk, that show sucked. I think it was the one with Jeff Hardy and Sheamus on the show. It was about when Sheamus supposedly acted like he was run over by a car, or Jeff Hardy was framed and made look like he was drunk behind the wheel of a car or some shit like that. I'm not sure, but let me tell you, it was definitely fucking terrible to watch. Even drunk, it sucked. I did not enjoy it whatsoever. So Rachel Buck also continuing on says, so I see that Sasha Banks is the only one that will leave. Oh, by the way, I also see Alexa Bliss leaving too because I don't see them putting a title on Alexa. So I see Sasha and Alexa Bliss leaving. And then Rachel Buck went back and corrected what she was trying to say. I think she thought I didn't know what she meant. She said, I mean, Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks will get released, and that will be that. Naomi will stay, but Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks will get released. They're not getting released. Alexa Bliss, I think they may keep her more than likely, simply because of the fact that She's not exactly what you would call a somebody you would want to throw away. She could be a good asset to them in some capacity if they come up with some creative for her. But at the end of the day, I don't see her really doing much of any of importance at this point. I honestly don't think WWE cares to do anything with anybody. I mean, you look at their body of work every single week, there's just like a complete utter I quit. It's like they've tapped out in a submission hold, man. They're just there to be there. They're not there to do anything special. They're living off of the names of what they built up in their past history. And this company's going bye-bye, folks. This company has got nothing left to give. They're not even on life support. They got a fucking flat line, and they're just waiting for someone to pull the trigger and fucking kill them and get the damn torture over with, you know? I'm trying to figure out the words to say for this. But bottom line, guys, I do not see this company coming back from anything. I do not see them improving. Honestly, I don't see you guys getting any benefit from watching this company. This promotion is as dead can get. It's beating a dead horse is basically what I'm trying to say here. Matt 87 Eagle, nice to hear from you, Matt. The short version is that women's tag team champions are being used as filler challengers for a D-rate premiere or D-rate premium live event. Yeah, I don't know. Matt, I don't care, honestly. Let me just get into the updated information about this and what's been going on with the situation from last night, because I got this article up. I'm ready to go. So let me go ahead and read it off to you guys. So, reports from more reliable sources like Fightful Select, PW Insider, and Wrestling Observer agree on the main details, giving us the following picture. Now, this is coming from Cage Side Seats. They're stating that these are bullet points pointing out exactly what more than likely occurred and what was taking place. So basically, Naomi was set to win the planned six-pack challenge to determine Bianca Belair's challenger at next month's Hell in a Cell show. There was a differing reports on whether she was set to pin Sasha to finish that match. Fightful says she would have beaten Nikki Ash. That would have been the proper decision to have Nikki Ash lose in this match, but it wouldn't make a lot of sense for her to, her and Sasha Banks to just, leave for that reason. So I'm leaning more towards the fact that Sasha Banks was going to suffer a pinfall in that match, which would have made a lot more sense for them to pack their bags and leave. Nikki Ash? No, I don't agree. I think it was Sasha Banks, because I don't think they would have flipped out if it was fucking Nikki Ash, because let's be honest, Nikki Ash is in a complete downward spiral ever since she's became this fucking superhero character. She's been an absolute travesty to watch on TV. Nikki Cross was the shit. That's the character she should have stuck with, going from NXT to the main roster, but they decided to change everything about it. Daniel goes ahead and says, I feel bad for Sasha and Naomi. So does everybody, Daniel. You're not alone. CEO of Berserk. She's the worst Raw Women's Champion. You're talking about Bianca Belair? Oh, Nikki Ash. Oh, dude. She is the biggest waste of time I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what the hell WWE, why they had to change what she was doing as Nikki Cross. I have no idea. They could have made her the NXT Nikki Cross, brought her into the main roster, and left it at that, and then it would have been fine. But they wanted to change who she was, and it's failing miserably because it's not entertaining, it's not funny. There's nothing even good about it. Hurricane Helms was better than this Nikki Ash character. Holy shit. Even Molly Holly was better than this. Um, so the next bullet point by Cage Side Seat says some reports also suggest that Banks would have been set up as SmackDown Women's Champion, Ronda Rousey's opponent at Hell in a Cell, and that both the tag team champions would put over the singles title holders at the pay-per-view. Now, this part, I understand why they'd be upset about this. This is a really huge problem. Uh, like I said earlier in this video, her losing and Banks losing, both of them being the tag team champions, is the most idiotic fucking thing. They might as well just keep them away from the world titles in the women's division. Bottom line, I think it's idiotic if they were to, you know, do that. It's kind of stupid, personally. Matt87 Eagle says FTR and Punk have gone on the record stating that they are 100% standing behind Sasha Banks' decision for walking out on Raw. Yeah, I mean, based on the reports, they do have a right to walk out on WWE. They're not treating them the proper way. They're tag team champions. This is why the women's tag team titles mean nothing. But then again, that's what every other title is. They don't mean anything. The Raw and SmackDown women's titles don't mean nothing. They have nothing of importance going on with them. We have nothing going on that's special with the World Heavyweight title. The World Heavyweight title's in fucking in captive. They're hostage. Neither title is being utilized in a way of being defended. So nobody can have a right to claim an opportunity to become champion. It's idiotic. And the US Championship is on Austin Theory, which I guess is okay. That's a smart decision. I guess you could go with on that. But fucking but Ricochet? I don't even know if he's still carrying the title. Does anyone if anyone knows about I haven't even listened to the reviews on SmackDown lately. I just don't even care at this point. But if anyone knows if Ricochet is still the Intercontinental Champion, let me know in the chat. I greatly appreciate it. Or better yet, since I got my phone out, let me go ahead real quick and check out the issue with the Intercontinental title. Give me 1 second. See, this is why the Intercontinental Championship, this is why the WWE sucks, because, yeah, Ricochet is still the Intercontinental Champion. Okay, so who really gives a shit, really, honestly? Like, Ricochet is getting no good treatment whatsoever as the Intercontinental Champion anyway. And, everybody else is just sitting around hoping for the best, but they're never going to get it because Vince don't care about him. He don't care about anything. He doesn't care about this company. He doesn't care about nothing. He's just caring about the number one thing, and that's his retirement fund. That's what this is all about, folks. He's looking for a retirement fund. The man is 76 years old, I believe. I mean, let's be real, guys. It's basically a joke. This guy doesn't give a fuck about the promotion. He doesn't care what his father built. He doesn't give a shit about anything but himself and about his retirement fund. That's what this is about. And eventually, when he starts seeing that there's profit declining slightly, the first moment he sees any decline in profit and he's not getting outside sources to get this profit from, he's going to walk. He's going to sell the company for whatever he can get it for as at the highest bidder. And that's going to be it. He's going to walk and he's going to take his money and run. And everyone else is going to sit there with their hands up in the air going, what the fuck, Vince? And that's the way it's going to be. And AEW is not going to be able to save all these guys. All these guys are going to have to figure out something to do on their own, or they're going to have to figure out a way to make it on the indies, which I don't see why they wouldn't. They're very highly respected by the wrestling community. and they have a lot to offer. So Randy Orton, he would be fine. He'll go off, probably retire from wrestling completely. He won't have any business joining AEW. I'm certain of that. AJ Styles, same thing. Edge, definitely. Sasha Banks, she'll be going. If she doesn't even stay with WWE, I think I would lean more towards her joining up into the Hollywood role than her being in AEW at this point. Now, I would not even hate the fact if Sasha Banks went to AEW. AEW could really use her services in the women's division. She would give that women's division that much more uh, credibility, and it just would make the show a hell of a lot more entertaining to watch. But I'm leaning towards Sasha Banks. If she doesn't stay with WWE, she is going to Hollywood to go do TV shows, movies, something of that kind of nature. She is related to Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg will get her a job easy in Hollywood and do commercials with him and all that kind of shit. I guarantee you, she will not have a problem getting a job outside of wrestling easily. All right, so moving on here with some of the comments. Daniel says they had the nerve to call them unprofessional on Raw, but they didn't call out Becky and Charlotte a while back over it. Yeah, that's true. They had a falling out backstage, but they didn't call what they did unprofessional. I guess because they didn't walk out on the WWE. So as long as you're there to perform, you're not unprofessional, but you can act like a complete asshole backstage. It's okay as long as you're there to give them their money and make and not have to change up all their plans and make everything changed up anyway at the last minute. Not that they don't do that on their own, but you get what I mean. All right, moving on here. CEO of Berserk says Ricochet is still champ and the championship is basically a TV championship now. I don't even put it in that same class, CEO of Berserk. I really don't. I see that title as like a 24/7 championship at this point. This title is fucking useless. It's the worst it's ever been. I mean, the Godfather with the whole train as an Intercontinental Champion is better than Ricochet right now. That's pretty sad to say, but at least the damn title was utilized and it was shown on TV every single week. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. They may have the Intercontinental title on SmackDown every week. I'm not watching SmackDown, so I don't know what the fuck's going on over there, nor do I care. Matt87 Eagle says Corey Graves is taking the bullet for calling Banks and Naomi unprofessional on Raw, even though it's Vince screaming in his ear to say it in the back. You know what? I honestly don't care whether or not it makes Corey Graves look bad or not. These people do not have minds of their own. It's like as if they work for WWE and they're successful, they have to trade their brains in so that they can continue to get that cash. So basically, the saying for WWE should be cash over brains, cash over morality, cash over integrity, cash over everything you know. Sell your soul to the WWE so you can make that money. Why? There are other things you can do in life besides wrestling. And if you want to stay in wrestling, you can do other things outside of WWE. They're not the only game in town. Hell, not even AEW is the only game in town. New Japan Wrestling could use a lot of the talent that's in WWE right now. Could you imagine? I mean, seriously, could you imagine Kevin Owens in New Japan Wrestling, man? That shows that if New Japan Wrestling could not sneak, but snatch some of the WWE talent and bring them over to New Japan Wrestling, you know how many people would subscribe to their streaming service? I know I would. I'd get rid of some of my subscriptions that I have that I'm not interested in using anymore and just delete them, and so I could get New Japan Wrestling streaming service back on. But that's just me, man. I think WWE is not the only place in town. Really, it's not. And I think a lot of these wrestlers go out of their way because they think low of themselves. And I guess that's because they've been working in WWE and they beat them down to a pulp, making them think they have no value. And that could be honestly true because of the fact, look at the way the company is being run. I mean, nobody's hearing Sasha Banks and Naomi's opinion on it. And they're being told no. They wanted to do their own thing. They wanted to have a tag team championship match against two other opponents in a tag team match at Hell in a Cell pay-per-view and do their performance there. They did not see the point of them challenging for the SmackDown and Raw the SmackDown and Raw Women's Championships. They didn't see themselves in that realm unless they were winning the titles. And I agree with that. They're the tag team champions. What the fuck are they going after the Raw and SmackDown tag titles or SmackDown and Raw Women's Championships? Fuck, man. Anyway, let me go over the other comments made by Daniel. He made 3 other comments. Daniel says, I think they called Naomi Trinity Fatu if she went with Sasha to AEW or somewhere. But I would be pissed if WWE lets them go for no reason. Oh, they're gonna let them go, probably. More than likely. Sasha Banks, I don't think they're going to let her go. I think they're going to keep her locked into her contract. She's going to have to stick with that until her contract is up, which I don't know when that's going to be. And then Daniel also says, hell, Sasha and Naomi deserve more than Charlotte, Becky, and Ronda combined. I'd have to agree, not to mention it would be, you know, a fresh thing to do to have these 2 women at the top of the helm with Bianca Belair and the other women you just listed. This women's division's top billing are not exactly that high. They don't have that many great names that are the top of the pinnacle of this company in the women's division. I mean, Sasha and Naomi should be at the top of the list with those other women you just stated. And yet they're nowhere to be near that or be found. I mean, come on, man. You're just leaving yourselves with no excitement. There's no new fresh faces challenging for titles and actually being the champions too. Honestly, this is my personal opinion. I think Sasha Banks should have been challenging fucking Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And if you brought Ronda Rousey back, then I think Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch would have been the smart decision because Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey had something going when Ronda left in 2019. But I have mentioned before, who the fuck cares? It was 3 years ago. You've wasted all this time and have not talked about it or done anything with it. But out of all the stories they could have told, besides Bianca Belair, but Bianca Belair, let's face facts, folks, she had too many opportunities for the Raw tag team titles, Raw Women's Championship for so many times throughout 2021 that she lost about 2 or 3 times in a row going after that title. And then she wins a elimination chamber out of nowhere because they had nobody else to go after this fucking championship. And so they decided, let's go with Bianca Belair because that's the safe bet to go with. And then they gave her the fucking championship. Now, folks, they're talking about Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch at the end of all of this at WrestleMania 39. Now, why would you want to go back to that when Becky Lynch has already lost the Raw Championship for the women's division? There's no point in that. She's already lost the fucking title. The point of doing all that would have been keeping her as the Raw champion, the Raw Women's Champion. That's why I'm saying Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks would have been the better choice to go with. And then Ronda challenging for the Raw Women's Championship so Ronda could win it at WrestleMania. That's what I would have done. But they had to change Becky Lynch into this, oh, my precious. My precious, like she's fucking part of the Lord of the Rings. I can't believe the fucking nonsense I heard leading up to that fucking pay-per-view of WrestleMania. What a joke. What a fuck. Actually, WrestleMania Backlash. I cannot believe they had this woman say, well, actually, she might have said that while she was the champion. I don't know. It don't matter. It's all fucking bullshit anyway. But bottom line, it's a travesty what they've done to these two women and what they're doing. Charlotte Flair more like Gollum Flair. Got to agree on that, Daniel. Appreciate the comment there. That was pretty funny. But let me go over some of the other bullet points that they pointed out here. So, besides the tag team titles, besides that of them losing to both champions, Banks and Naomi objected to some of or all elements of that plan, wanting instead to set up an angle where they would face Nikki Ash and Doudrop for the tag team titles at Hell in a Cell. They believe that to have raised those issues in a meeting with Vince McMahon. And at one point during the day yesterday, the plan may have been to start that program by having Nikki and Doudrop attack Sasha and Naomi after they had a short tag team match. Sometime before Raw, a producer insider says it was Molly Holly informed Sasha and Naomi they were going with the original six-pack challenge plan. The champs then went to John Laurinaitis and his fucked up voice with the people power, told him they were leaving and left their titles on his desk. The pair's frustration apparently isn't new. Insiders sources say that Sasha and Naomi feel that they made the most of being put in a team together for WrestleMania and aren't happy. Aren't happy. Their reward for doing so is to have to wrestle each other and go off to put over other talents, leaving them in the same situation they were in before being teamed up. That makes logical sense for them to be pissed. I would too. What the fuck? And this is what I said earlier in the video here, guys. Fightful says their concerns were about the direction of their tag team and the division as a whole. So they're trying to help their tag team division out since they are the tag team champions, and they want to make the tag team championship division become important, have a reason to be in existence. This makes logical sense. If you're going to put tag team titles on two women and they're wanting to do something that makes sense by making the women's division for the tag team titles have a reason to be on the show, why wouldn't you listen to them on that subject? Your tag team division is going nowhere and it's pointless. So who fucking gives a shit? So make sense of it. Give it a reason to be there, or get rid of the tag team titles, which I think they probably will do at this point now that they've dropped the titles. Anyway, let me go back to some of the comments here. CEO of Berserk says the women's tag title program would make more sense. He also then says not making the tag champions or tag champs pinning each other. Yeah, I agree. That's what I've been saying here since I started the live stream. Daniel says modern WWE doesn't care for their talent. Obviously, AEW does. Yeah. I mean, Tony Khan made comments in the week during the weekend about what WWE Vince McMahon has been doing over the last couple of years. He doesn't understand the logic behind Vince McMahon shredding his scripts by hiring all these people and then not sticking with those scripts. He says, what does he do on his weekends? Does he not care? Does he just show up on Monday and then he looks at it and he goes, oh, okay, let me go ahead and do this. And yeah, that's it. Let me just rip this up in the last minute, make an entire script on my own. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Tony Khan's like, seriously, aren't you supposed to be watching and looking over the scripts as they move on throughout the entire script just to see how things are flowing and how they work? Um, like, what are you doing? You should be going ahead and checking the script as you move forward by the end of the script so that everything flows properly the way you want it to. So basically, what Tony Khan is saying is that as the script is being made, he checks it with a comb hair brush, and he checks everything to make sure everything flows properly. He even says, I do the whole entire writing myself. I don't need 60 writers to do an entire script, which makes, a lot of sense. He doesn't need all those people. All he needs is himself, maybe Bruce Pritchard, if Bruce Pritchard can actually come up with ideas, which he can't. He's completely wasted out. And fuck, man. Even I mean, if he really wanted to bury WWE quicker than he already is, which I don't know why he would, but if he wanted to, you can always hire Bully Ray in there and make him the head executive of producing the show and get rid of fucking Bruce Pritchard altogether, you know? I mean, come on, man. What a fucking joke. This guy is the biggest waste of time. All right, so let me see the other bullet points here. So it seems to have become a standoff between the talents and McMahon. Wow, that's obvious. Look at how the talent act on screen, man. They act like they're just going through the motions. They're not having any fun. They're not putting any emotion. They're not really doing much of anything. They sound like children on television. It's ridiculous. That's why I can't watch the fucking show anymore and do reviews on this channel. It is so sad to watch on a week to week basis. I just can't do it. Um, but anyway, uh, what's not clear is whether Vince indicated he changed last night's plans in his meeting with them, or stick with his or go to the or make the keep the promises made over the past several weeks or months. Corey Graves comments about walking out being unprofessional were fed to him by Vince, who was in Gorilla last night, which is what Matt said in the chat just now, a few moments ago. Regarding WWE's statement that Banks and Naomi said they weren't comfortable wrestling two of their opponents in the six-pack challenge, Fightful indicates that WWE's spin on their wanting to work a program with Nikki and Doudrop rather than be part of the planned match with Asuka and Becky Lynch. WWE's talent was sent to the roster via the internal talent relations app. People Fightful spoke to said they haven't heard Sasha or Naomi talk about anyone being unsafe. So the whole thing that they stated why they walked out was complete and utter bullshit. And then Insider speculates the portion of WWE's statement apologizing for changing the main event was suggested by legal as possible grounds for saying Banks and Naomi breached their contracts. So, and they concluded with the guy who wrote from Cage Side News, or Cage Side Seats, says, like I said, it's a lot, and this is only the tip of the iceberg. This will be a story that has legs and touches on a lot of ongoing discussions about WWE creative, wrestlers as independent contractors, gender, race, and more. So buckle up and keep yourself informed. So that's basically what's going on here. Guys, this is a lot of information. And, you know, I'm dumbfounded by this. Really. I do not understand why Vince would put tag team champions in a situation where they're both going to lose while they're tag team champions. It doesn't help the tag team division in the women's division at all. But then again, Vince don't care. That's the neat part about all this shit. All these people that tune in for this fucking shitty product every single week. 1.5 million. Why the fuck isn't AEW? You know, that really pisses me off. These morons will sit there and defend this fucking piece of shit product. But while AEW is putting on good shows on the same fucking station that has the NBA playoffs, and no, I'm not making any excuses for why AEW's ratings have not been at the level they were a couple of months ago. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to give, if I'm not going to give WWE the same, respect of having them be able to use that as an excuse, then why would I give that to AEW? What, because they're newer? Because they've only been around for 3 years? I don't give a shit. And I'm a fan of AEW. I've never really shit on AEW. I don't hate AEW by any means at all. But my goodness, man. And I don't even blame this on AEW. You know what I blame this on? The fucking fans. you want to talk WWE talks about how shitty the fans are. They should be grateful they even have over 1 million fucking viewers every single week. They want to blame the fans. Those fans that they used to have, which was 3 million plus every single week on Raw and about 2.5 million every single week on SmackDown, left WWE because of the fact of their creative writing decisions and the way they book their fucking shows. They should be grateful they even have 1.5 million people on average showing up to watch their shows. And a lot of times they're at 1.8 with Raw and 1.6. This is pathetic. Why are you fans sticking up for this horrible, disgusting, cancerous promotion? You like your intelligence insulted? Now, Rachel Buck, I've pointed her out a couple of times on this channel in my videos. She's a very respectable person. She does not shit on my opinion because I think deep down she knows for a fact I have a right to be mad. But she wants to be a loyal fan. I get that. But Rachel, you gotta be. I hope you understand the major problems WWE has. You cannot support this product by defending it. Now, if you want to continue to watch until it sinks, I get it. Sting worked for WCW until it sunk. The fans that were watching WCW when they were only getting like 2.5 million viewers, while Raw was getting almost 6 million views every single week, and on SmackDown they were getting 2 to 3 million views every single week. I get those people. I get it. I feel bad for you guys that want to stick by and continue to watch this, but I hope you see the errors of their ways. That's all I'm saying. Now, for the ones that want to stand up and defend this shitty ass product and say it's a great company and it's got good entertaining stuff, you got to be smoking something, man. Seriously. Big time. I think it's an absolute fucking travesty that these people stick up for this company while they get shitted on for having a voice. That's ridiculous. If you hear your fans upset, listen to them. They pay those tickets to sit in the stands and watch. Care about your audience. AEW does. Tony Khan listens to his fucking audience, man. He literally hears what we're saying on the internet. He'll interact with the people on social media platforms. He gives a fuck what we say. He wants to improve and do better by his audience. Now, I'm not saying you got to justify every single little fucking thing you do on your program, but listen to him on some of the big points that majority of people are agreeing on that's wrong with your product. I mean, that would be the intelligent thing to do, but no, WWE just does what they want. They go against the grain of their own audience because they just don't give a fuck because they're not planning on staying around for much longer. I keep saying this, and I'm going to keep saying it until they go bye-bye. 2023, folks. Bank on it. Fucking bank on it. They will be going bye-bye by 2023 after WrestleMania 39 in California. Guarantee it. Roman Reigns is walking out that fucking door after WrestleMania 39. I guarantee you. And when that happens, that company will no longer have any legs to stand on. Because Roman Reigns is the only guy. He's got all that fucking weight carrying on his back. Why the fuck do you think he's going away for 10 weeks? He's probably looking for an agent in Hollywood to get him started after WrestleMania 39. I guarantee you. I would not be fucking surprised. Maybe he's got a small role he's doing like he did in Hobbs and Shaw movie from the Fast and Furious spinoff that they did. I mean, there is a lot that could be going on in those 10 weeks that he'll be doing. But I guarantee you he's looking for a fucking agent for Hollywood because he's going to need one. Because working for this company ain't worth his fucking time anymore, man. Even Roman Reigns is far above this shit. Paul Heyman is above this shit. Paul Heyman should be going out and doing something way better than this garbage. He does not need this. The sad part is Paul Heyman comes up with ideas for Roman Reigns' character with Roman Reigns, and they do a better job than the rest of what Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard do together on those shows. This is pathetic. Pathetic. I mean, I don't know how much more I can say here outside of sounding very redundant. Because that's all I keep doing is sounding redundant. Redundant anyway. Redundant. What the fuck am I talking about? Anyway, I think you guys get my drift. So let me go over the 3 comments, 2 made by Matt87 Eagle and Daniel, and we're going to close up shop here. I know this is a little bit short. It's only 8 minutes short than normal. But I mean, I've pretty much said everything I've had to say here. There's nothing more else to say. So let me read off these 3 comments and then we'll be closing up shop here for Random Wrestling Talk episode number 18. Matt87 Eagle says, that was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Great burn from TK. Yes, it was very entertaining. And Matt87 Eagle also stated, apparently Vince Russo is asking for a job in WWE. What? Oh my gosh. I gotta look for this. Why would he be looking for a job in WWE? His ideas will be totally trashed on. I don't believe this shit. This is fucking ridiculous. Vince Russo. Let's see what this crazy son of a bitch wants to do. You know what's funny? This guy, Vince Russo. Well, Matt, you might be a little wrong here because I just saw Vince Russo supports Naomi and Sasha Banks walking out. This is on bodyslam.net. Sometimes support comes from the strangest places. As fans know by now, Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out of the WWE Raw taping on Monday night. Throughout the show, we were updated on the situation until WWE released a statement regarding the incident and so on and so forth. So while speaking on a Legion of Raw, Vince Russo shared his thoughts of Sasha Banks and Naomi walking out on Monday Night Raw. He gave both of them huge props and support. I don't know why he'd be looking for a job with WWE if that was the case. What the fuck? I'm not even going to worry about what the fuck they had to say in that article you supposedly found, Matt. That's a complete and utter joke. Daniel says Vince is injecting the poison of bad booking. Obviously, he must be reverting back to that 2002 promo he did about the NWO and injecting a lethal dose of poison into the company. Apparently, he's doing that without the NWO. He's just doing it on his own. Matt87 Eagle says bad booking equals cancer in WWE. No, actually, Matt, you got that wrong. It's not bad cancer. It's not cancer in WWE. It's cancer in the pro wrestling community because we have to suffer through this shit. Vince McMahon just keeps profiting and making money off of it. And then Matt87 Eagle also stated, I heard about this before the walkout. Oh, okay. Well, don't pay attention to that fucking article. That's a joke because I just read that Vince Russo is supporting Naomi and Sasha Banks. If that's the case, I don't think Vince McMahon and WWE would give them a job. And give him a job, I should say. So, yeah, I'm not thinking that Vince Russo is at all joining with Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard in the creative booking decisions. I highly doubt he would want to do that because probably all of his ideas would be shot down anyway. And Vince McMahon's got Bruce Pritchard to suck on his balls and cock because he does it so well. I love you. Give me a fucking break, man. Anyway, guys, that's all I got to say here today. I know I've only done one article compared to last weekend or the last episode I did about 5 or 6, maybe even 10 articles. But this is a very big one. So I just thought I'd go ahead and give you guys my opinion on this. I may come back here next week and comment on anything new about this situation, as well as other articles and stories that are going on backstage in wrestling. So keep your eye out for the next episode next Tuesday at its normal time, 8:30 p.m. And at this time, guys, you know what to do. Hit that like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And of course, as always, I'll reach back out to you if you'd like to leave a comment down below. I hope you guys have a great day and a great night, guys. And I'll speak to you again tomorrow for Dynamite. One other thing, Matt87 Eagle states, by all means, WWE, give us more juicy news. Yeah, give us the big news when you sell off your fucking piece of shit product. Anyway, guys, I love speaking to you. I hope you had a good time listening to me rant about WWE and Sasha Banks and Naomi walking out of the company as they had the right to do so anyway. So, you know what to do. Peace. I'm out of here. I'll speak to you later tomorrow for a Dynamite, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.